So, a chimpanzee made this painting, and this is something that I would not normally be impressed by, but the fact that you're telling me that a chimpanzee made it is pretty impressive. The truth to this whole story, however, is a lot more stranger than it first seems. So, sit down, pay attention, and I'm going to tell you the story of how a chimpanzee fooled the entire arts world. I hope you're ready. The internet is filled with hoax articles, rumours and straight up lies to try and get people to believe in even the most absurd of stories. Some would even ask why you'd want to fool someone in this way, but the answers are pretty straightforward. For kicks, I guess. One such man who partook in this world of bullshitting art was from a journalist called Akdak Axelson, who came up with the idea of presenting some paintings as abstract art by a French artist named Pierre Brasso in 1964. The Swedish tabloid was ready to publish pieces for the art world to see, and by claiming that these pieces of art were done by a relatively unknown artist, by taking these pieces to art shows and displaying them for the entire public to take a look at. The only problem with this whole story, however, was that the artist, who was apparently a real person, was not a person. As a matter of fact, Pierre Brasso was a chimp, and instead of having paintings from an underground artist, these were actually the paintings of a chimpanzee. The hoax was intended to criticise the art world's tendency to overanalyse and assign deep meaning to abstract and unconventional artworks. You basically know the kind of person I'm talking about. It's those art snobs that think they know better than everybody else, and they think that they have the eye to break down and... Look, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be an art critic, because yes, some people who have the knowledge and the know-how will be able to give you a lot more information about a piece of art than perhaps first meets the eye. However, the problem is when people try and take their ability too far and try and assign meaning to something that has absolutely no meaning whatsoever. So, let's see how this went. Because yes, everybody wants to get one over on the snobby guy that thinks he can understand what literal being smeared on a canvas actually means. What is the deep artistic struggle that this artist is trying to show? I think the deep artistic struggle was, I don't want to do this anymore, give me a banana, I'm a chimpanzee. To add a bit more meat to the bone with this hoax, Axelson took a chimpanzee named Peter from the local zoo and provided him with the painting materials he needed to create his masterpieces. This would be the next great artwork of our age. Go at it, my furry friend. So, Peter got given his painting supplies and went underway. Initially, he probably didn't realise what the hell he was doing, but realised soon afterwards that he needed to put the paintbrush to the canvas, and eventually he made some artwork pieces of his own. With the support of his trainer, he managed to create a number of art pieces, with the best being selected to be displayed in the art gallery. Yes, over time, Peter learnt that he had to put paint on the canvas, and with his brush he finally realised that he could paint the canvas different colours apart from brown to create something truly wonderful. And something truly wonderful he did. I mean, this is just one of the art pieces he made, and you know what, like I said, it's something which you might take a first look at it and go, well, it's just an art piece. But then you realise that a chimp's done it, and then that actually adds a lot more to this. This is actually quite impressive. I mean, he's probably doing a better job than I could, and I mean, I'm a human, so there we are. Axelson then went ahead and took the best paintings and submitted them to the art show in order for these art critics to take a further look. But the question was, would they know any better about the origins and the artistic impressions beyond these paintings, or do they look like they've just been drawn by a chimpanzee? This hoax gained significant attention when a critic from a Swedish newspaper reviewed the paintings and praised the painting, referring to it as powerful and full of vigour. The critic's enthusiasm fueled the controversy and drew even more attention to the artwork. Roald Anderberg, who was an actual art critic at the time, said probably the best thing, and this was before he knew that this was made by a chimp, saying the following: Brasso paints with powerful strokes, but also with clear determination. His brush strokes with a furious fastidiousness. Pierre is an artist who performs with the delicacy of a ballet dancer. Wow, that's some impressive praise there, and it's pretty impressive because this is a literal chimpanzee that drew this, so he must be good. Whilst most people were fooled by the hoax, there was one or two people that caught on, with one critic even claiming that it looks like a monkey had drawn it. And with this, he decided to reveal his secret to the world and tell everybody that these paintings were not some underground artist, but it was simply an animal from the zoo. And yes, whilst 1 or 2 people may have managed to crack the code, the vast majority of people genuinely believed that this was an actual artist that made these paintings, which basically proves the point he was trying to make to begin with, that these art critics don't know any better, or were simply fooled into believing that these pieces of art meant a lot more than they actually did. Roald Anderberg quickly doubled down on his previous praise by saying that he thought that it was the best art piece in the gallery at the time. Now, I wonder if he actually felt that, or whether he felt like he had to say it to save face. I mean, he was pretty bold in his comments, and for him to pedal back on that, as a professional art critic? Pfft, never heard of it. Well, either way, whichever way you cut it, by saying that, he was basically saying that a piece of art made by a chimpanzee was better than every single art piece in there, which 99.9% of them were made by actual human beings. So, yeah, if you were one of those other artists, I'd be pretty pissed off with that art critic. But yeah, either way, like I said, brilliant story. This hoax highlighted the subjective nature of art interpretation and the tendency of some critics to overanalyze and praise abstract art without fully understanding its context. It also sparked discussions about the authenticity and the value of modern art. Whilst the hoax itself was quite short-lived, it left a lasting impact on the art world and remains a famous example of how an artistic intention and context can shape the perception of artworks. And that is pretty cool. So, what happened after this? A private collector bought one of the pieces for about $90, which according to the Consumer Price Index, in 2008 this was worth about $600. Peter the chimp was eventually transferred to Chester Zoo in England in 1969, where he lived out the remainder of his days as a retired painter. And that's the story. A story which I thought was hilarious, and it's actually really interesting because findings of this test kind of proved what I think a lot of people would have probably thought anyway. But let me just end the video by saying, one of these, I'd hang that in my house. I think I would. If you guys enjoyed that video, here's another one just like it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.